What is up, Renaissance crew? I'm the original Renaissance man, Devon DaVinci, and you're watching DaVinci Reacts. I know I said I had a new tagline, but I forgot to implement it, so I'm just going to end up doing it for this video. And maybe the other ones will have the new tagline, but whatever. Anyway, I am the original Renaissance man, Devon DaVinci, and you are watching DaVinci Reacts. I just did a video called Christian Cringe Fail Compilation. If you guys don't know anything about that, it is a video about pretty much people of the Christian persuasion, pretty much jumping through loops to talk about their particular religion of choice. Now, some of their arguments weren't some of the best, but that's what made it fun. The point of it was to make fun of some of the better arguments. It wasn't necessarily to use it as a legitimate attack against them, because I know that's more of a straw man thing, but it was more so just to make fun of some of the more laughable arguments. I know that there are some better arguments, even though personally I do not agree with the arguments for Christianity at all. I think that they're just as ridiculous as just about any argument that is based on faith. I will have some more cringes in the future. Also, there will be ones about Muslims. There will probably be ones about Judaisms. There will probably be Judaism. I said Judaisms. There'll probably be some about anti-vaxxers. There'll probably be more about flat earth and other things that are pretty much built on bad foundations. Now, this is another one of them that I'm going to be reacting to today. This is psychic cringe fail. So you guys know about psychics and people that claim to be able to look into the future and know outcomes before they're actually presented or actually like factual. So we're going to go ahead and tackle some people who claim to be supernatural, and there's no better person in the world to tackle supernatural claims than the great James Randi. Now, if you don't know who James Randi is, this is a guy who, for the longest of time, that, or at least that I can remember, I think he goes far back as like the 60s or 70s. It could be earlier than that. Where he just pretty much takes claims that people make and hold their feet to the fire. Like, okay, well, if you think you can do this, well, prove to me that you can do it. And the thing is, because he is a magician or I guess an illusionist, prestidigitator, whatever you want to call it, he knows how tricks work. And usually people that are like in that field tend to be the best when it comes to discovering scams and things like that, because they understand sleight of hand and ways to manipulate and trick people. So it's easy for them to recognize when a trick is being pulled on somebody. The same can be said for Matt Dillahunty, who's also a magician, and he also goes against more supernatural claims. But anyway, let's go ahead and get into this and check out James Randi just completely laying a smackdown on some goddamn psychics.
Some psychics go so far as to offer help to the police. In order to see how useful this is, we prepared an experiment using this collection of instruments which might have been used to commit crimes, and then again, they might not. Is it possible for a psychic to read the history of an instrument just by touching? My final guest claims to be able to do this. Now, Nella, you regularly approach the
I'll talk about the
police
James
with
Randi
information you have
Foundation
about
and the $1
crimes.
million prize
The
also
test you
later.
and I have agreed upon involves a number of objects which you've never seen before. We're going to see what information you can get from them. Any or all of these could have been connected with a serious crime involving a loss of life. The history of each object is known. Which ones do you think are most likely?
That's just a little thing. That's just I think. Could have been quite innocent, but getting into a lock of some sort. I felt glass with that one, as if it could have been used to... I feel glass. Not doing bad, are we? This one, God knows why. I'm picking up a heavy tire, a heavy vehicle tire. So I don't know what that's been used for. Sorry, my darling, best I can do.
Let's look at your results. I know you make no claims for accuracy, but it's still interesting that you examined 6 objects, you got no information from 3 of them, and you got incorrect information from the remaining 3. I wonder what the police would make of that.
James, you're trying to explain all that I do by logic.
Oh, no.
What I do is illogical.
It's been a most intriguing demonstration, and we'd like to thank you very much, Nella, for taking part.
Thank you for coming on this show and completely embarrassing yourself.
Good evening, everybody. I hope to be able to make a link with someone here tonight and bring a loved one through from the world of spirit. Now, someone here tonight either is Mr. Taylor or the name of Taylor will have a close connection with you.
My mother's maiden name is Taylor.
Because you see, I have a gentleman here
Of course.
who links with that name very clearly. And he would have been quite elderly when he passed. I feel he's your granddad. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah.
And who's Jimmy? Do you know who Jimmy is?
Can't
Or
picture a
James?
Jimmy.
James?
This is
Hang on a minute. Do you
stupid.
know who Doris is?
No, I can't picture that either.
Okay.
Well, I want us to look carefully at the connections that you say you made.
Wow.
Let's take a vote. First, how many people in our audience tonight can connect with the name Taylor?
30%.
About 30%. And now, how many people can relate to the condition of the grandfather?
Of course,
About
because grandfathers
55%.
die of old age.
So to sum up, about a third connect with the name Taylor, and over half connect with the details of the grandfather. Well, that's very interesting. Maureen's statements seem to be more general than each of you thought before we took the vote. Make of that what you will. Is this a picture of a dear departed soul? We begin our quest with a lady who sketches what she believes to be portraits of spirit people. And
Why do they
these
all look
are examples
European?
of her work. Could you tell us now what person in the audience might be able to identify with the spirit picture that you're going to produce?
No, we don't understand quite how this works, but we have to make the link with the spirit and then hope that it will make sense to somebody in the
I
audience.
just want to see her draw a picture like
Well, I'm
a
going to
black
back off
dude.
the
I'm like,
set
well,
on
what the
and
hell?
let you do your
Where did
thing.
that come
I
from?
will try to draw
My grandparent had an affair
someone
once.
from the world of spirit. Stephen will tune in to the same spirit, and if what we're getting makes sense to one of you, will you please answer? Put your hand up. Obviously got a lady coming through, a lady who makes me feel
Obvious.
terribly, terribly short of breath. She would have suffered either with heart trouble or possibly even have passed with a chest condition. Have you got any contact with her, Stephen?
I wonder if there's anybody in our audience that either holds the
Or she
surname
knows how
of
to
Butler
draw.
or knows that name well, please. Do we have anybody there? Do we get a voice? Are you Butler?
I am, yes.
That is your name?
Yes.
Who is William Butler that's calling in from the other side of life? Someone that was known as William, passed over quite a while back, I've got to say. I don't know if you've heard of that name, have you? William Butler?
No, sorry.
Don't make it fit, whatever
No.
you do.
Hello, sir, there. Is this making sense to you of a lady that passed in the way I described, possible heart condition, angina? I feel she went silently, quietly in her sleep.
I know a man called William Butler.
Good.
Whose wife passed away with angina.
Yes.
But I've got to say that picture doesn't look
The
like...
picture doesn't fit with her. That's fine.
No.
As long as the details are
That
right,
was
we
the
may be
closest
able
you
to
would
piece
ever
it
get.
together if we can. We're working under very
Bitch like George
difficult,
Washington.
circumstances here. We're trying our best.
Can you? Come on, sort yourself out.
We'll try and place the face. What we normally do is try to link through and get the name of the communicator, but we can't demand that. But if you take this back to that connection, you will find you said a photograph, Coral, of this lady, and it's something to do with the bombing. So I would like to say to you, the audience, and the television station, to follow you back and have a look and see if you can place her. At least try that.
Certainly will, yeah.
Would you do that?
Will
I
do.
think I seen her in an oatmeal box once.
Thank you very much, Carl. Now, Carl said that the face she has drawn should mean something to somebody in our audience. Is there anybody here who can relate to this picture? Please vote if you think you recognize
Like
the
she,
face.
like she got, had her,
Well,
her
10
nose
people say they
mutilated. That's how she
recognize this
died.
face, which is odd since you said, Carl, that only one person should relate to it. Perhaps this drawing is not as specific as you think? Well, thank you very much anyway, Carl and Stephen.
He just nonchalantly just shuts people down.
Is that thoughts can be transmitted from one person to another,
And detected by this machine.
and it's detected by this machine.
I see. and it's connected to your colleague, Mr. Ron Turner. Are you connected, Ron?
I am, thank you.
I'm glad to know a man who feels well connected. Norman, would you please tune the machine for us now?
Surely.
And I understand that this also involves your wife, Norma, who is in our audience. And I understand that Norma is going to send pleasant thoughts over to Ron, and that the machine will pick up the thoughts as Ron receives them. Is that correct?
That's correct, but I would say at this point it's not pleasant thoughts, it's healing thoughts.
Ah, I see. All right, I stand corrected.
Okay,
Now,
yeah.
Ron, how can we tell when you are
not all
receiving
healing thoughts are
Norma's
pleasant,
thoughts?
apparently.
How will that be evident?
It'll be evident because the dial will show a rise, and also there will be a rise in the sound.
I'll signal you like this, okay? That's the official signal. And you will signal Norma to start sending thoughts. Okay, Norman?
That's quite all right.
Should have made the signal
Now.
a bye-bye sign, because that's going to be the last goddamn thing you say to him when he realizes this is a joke. I'm sorry, I'm kind of shutting myself off. I got to
Very
keep
good.
an open mind. Open
Of course,
mind.
it's possible that this happens through visual interaction between Ron and Norma. And in order to avoid such an accusation, we're going to seat Ron facing in the opposite direction. Ron, would you swivel around, please?
Oh boy, that
And
noise.
now
It
I'll
can get to you
signal
after a
when
while,
Norma
right?
is to start sending her thoughts. I will give the same signal
Count about 7.
sometime within the next few seconds or so. And under these conditions, we'll see what happens, all right?
Nothing. Nothing. Nothing.
All right, stop. Now let's give it a second try, if you will. Sometime in the next few seconds or so, I will give the signal by holding my thumb up.
She's already started.
I can't stop it.
Sure, you can't.
I guess we're having a hard time stopping it, Norman, or can you readjust it?
No. He's received it, you see, and it's in his energy form now.
Really. So it's a part of his aura now, so the machine's just going to constantly ring.
All right, sometime in the next little while, I'm going to give another signal.
It's beginning to slow.
No, it isn't.
Yeah, it's going pretty nuts. He's prematurely signaturing. Ah.
Okay, Norma, would you stop the signal, please?
Happens to the best of us.
Well, under these conditions, there doesn't seem to be a correlation that I can see. Perhaps Norma failed once and perhaps succeeded once, but I think it's very hard to tell. Sending thoughts with the box reacting, maybe it's been shown and maybe it hasn't. I can't make up my mind. Perhaps Ron was reacting to a visual signal rather than thought messages in the first part of the demonstration.
Yeah.
Nevertheless, the box is very interesting. Norman, would you allow electrical engineer to take a look inside that box?
Most certainly not.
Well, that's a
I would
pity.
rather get it patented first.
Well, that's a pity. I'm sure our audience would like to know what's going on in there. However, I would like to thank all three of you. Norma, Ron
He said he
Turner,
wants to get
Norman
patented
Knight.
first.
Earlier in the day, we gave
That means
you
if he-
5 examples of handwriting.
That means if he did discover some type of supernatural phenomenon, it's like, okay, you got to pay me first before I completely change science. You realize that you will get paid just from you're on TV. That should be word enough that you are the first one to discover this. At least I think. Isn't that how it works? I understand patents and everything, but if you're the first one and you have proof that you were the first one to do it, if a patent comes out later, can't you just like point to the tape like, I developed this first? Especially if they like showed it. Like they showed how it worked on TV. I'm gonna go back a little bit.
Turner, Norman Knight. Earlier in the day, we gave you 5 examples of handwriting, each one from a different career. A career that you have designated as being suitable for this experiment. Well, we have a saleswoman, computer training officer, an artist, a secretary, and a farmer. And these 5 ladies are with us in the studio tonight. So I understand that on the basis of graphological analysis, you've tried to allocate each sample to its author. Now, the expected result by chance would be to get 1 out of the 5 correct, by chance alone, and there's a less than 1% chance of your getting all 5 correct. Let's start with sample A.
I had a tussle whether it was the computer or the saleswoman, and I went for the saleswoman.
Thank you very much. Will Lady A please go to the sales lady?
I forgot to give the user a shout out.
Now,
I'll do all
what
that after the video. And
I put her as computers.
So you placed Lady
And I'll leave a
B
link.
in the computer profession?
I did.
I'm going to ask Lady B to step.
And I'll leave a link at the end. I'm sorry. I'm going to go back again one more time because I missed what he had said. But yeah, I forgot to give a shout out to the person that collected these clips from James Randi's show and made a compilation from them. Looks like Chode Munch. Now, I could be wrong. That could just be a watermark and somebody else uploaded it. But I will try to go and make sure everybody gets the proper credit that they deserve.
5 correct by chance alone, and there's a less than 1% chance of your getting all 5 correct. Let's start with sample A.
I had a tussle whether it was the computer or the saleswoman, and I went for the saleswoman.
Thank you very much. Will Lady A please go to the sales ladies section? Now, what about number B here?
And I put her as computers.
So you placed Lady B in the computer profession?
I did.
I'm going to ask Lady B to step over behind the computer. All right, and what about C?
She is up in the clouds a bit. She does a lot of thinking. And I'm going to say something particularly definite here, and she can tell me whether it's right or whether it's wrong. Do you have a scar in your abdomen?
Wrong.
No, you don't.
No scar on the abdomen. What profession did you allocate this
Well,
lady?
I allocated her between the land, and in fact the sales.
You chose this lady?
I chose the land. That's right.
All right, this lady will step
She's
around
an
to
MMA
where we
fighter.
find the tractor down in the end there, please. And what about sample D?
There is a lightness and delicacy to the handwriting.
So this lady is the artist in
That's
your
right.
estimation.
That's
Very well.
right.
Would you step over behind the palette and the brushes, please? And finally, I think I can guess which one this is. Would you step over behind the typewriter, please? Because you apparently are supposed to be the secretary. Well, I'm going to ask each one of these ladies in turn. First of all, number one, are you indeed a salesman? Vote with yes or no. You are not a salesperson. And number two, are you a computer expert?
They could fuck somebody up with them sharp-ass shoulder blades.
Are you the artist? Ah, you are. And number four, are you that secretary we're looking for? Apparently not. And number five, are you a farmer? I see. Well, would you please move to the correct positions that you belong in, the four ladies that were not correct? Would you move to the correct position?
1 for 5.
Now we know who is really in that profession. We expected that according to chance, Duncan, you would get one correct, and you got exactly one correct. My first guest is an astrologer whose work is read by millions of people in Britain every day. Jonathan has kindly agreed to put his talents to the test this evening. And before the show, we gave you the details of one person selected from that audience. So please give us your reading for that person.
Okay, well, I don't know who I'm addressing here, but I know that the person who owns the horoscope that I've been looking at has a very unusual horoscope. This horoscope is unusual, and it suggests to me that you are a very extrovert person, unusual, larger than life, full of confidence, with a very zany sense of humor, and generally a kind of way of being different, eccentric, controversial. You will kind of enjoy the limelight that comes from when it's revealed that it's you. You won't feel too shy or ashamed of it. And one more thing I should also say, there's something about you which is rather professorial and intellectual, and it makes me think that we're dealing with someone who's had a well-trained mind, is very speedy and alert and quick-witted.
So we're looking for someone who's controversial and professorial. Now, let's see if he or she agrees, but first, let's see by a show of hands in the audience here, how many people in the audience think this reading sounds like theirs? Let's see a show of hands. Well, we've got, what, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, about 15, maybe a few more. Quite a few, actually. Now, let's meet our real subject of that reading. Please welcome Hugh Laurie.
Yep, that's house.
So tell us, Hugh, what did you make of that reading? Is it anything like you? I mean, does it apply to you?
I wouldn't say very much, no. I'm certainly not enjoying the limelight now. Well, you may say, why did I come up? Well, curiosity, you know, but limelight, I wouldn't say no. Extrovert? I don't think so. Professorial? I got the lowest possible degree at the university I went to.
Ah, but you did go to university.
Ah, that's right.
Well, that's a start.
Oh, that's yeah.
One for me.
You think you count that as one for you, do you?
Well, just a small one
you're
for
very
me,
generous
I think,
to yourself.
yeah.
I call that a draw, yeah. All right.
Yeah, what are the chances of somebody going
what
to
else
university?
was there?
Did I say you had a good sense of humour? I think I did.
Hands up in this audience who thinks they have not got a sense of humour.
Oh,
there you go. It would have been brilliant, one of me, incidentally. That's the odd thing. People do regard me as professorial in some way or another. Hugh isn't at all. He's certainly not extrovert. And
Stupid. Stupid, in fact.
I wouldn't get together, but not in the least bit stupid. Very intelligent, but not in a professorial or academic kind of way. And certainly not competent. In fact, I seem to spend a good 90% of my life trying to make you more competent. He gets nervous and he despises
I think
it.
you do your friend a grave injustice. I've looked at his horoscope and I'm sure he's capable of far more than that.
Yeah, well, I've looked at him, you see.
Well, Jonathan, it doesn't seem that Hugh and Stephen are entirely convinced by your reading. And even more interesting, many people in our audience
One day I'm going to have to
tonight
learn
thought
how
that
to
it
speak
could
in a
be
British
them as well.
accent.
What explanation could there be for that, do you think?
That particular
My
brand
ability
of
to
accent.
communicate, and of course you must understand in the newspapers, I specialise in saying things that do apply to a lot of people at once.
Well, from my experience,
I don't really want to jump into like Cockney or something like that. I want the refined royal accent.
Which makes it clear they're for entertainment purposes only. Thank you very much, Jonathan, for taking part in our admittedly small number of trials. None of the special skills or powers
Well, as you can
seem
see,
to have been demonstrated.
there are other things.
The question remains, do these abilities really exist? Ladies and gentlemen, we give you the evidence. You make up your own minds.
You decide. Dum, dum, dum. But as you can see, there's many other different cringe compilations. There's more psychic cringe compilations. There's lying compilations. And this video was done by Chode Munch. There was some more videos I was also going to check out from another user, the person that did the Christian fails. I was going to do more of their videos. That's where I was going to get like the Muslim things. And I was also planning on checking out some atheists actually tackling some arguments like Christopher Hitchens and Richard Dawkins and things like that. So if you guys want to go and, you know, be on the lookout for those, they will be coming soon. Yeah, I mean, the thing is, people like to make claims, and the reason why I'm laughing at this, because I know there's some people that, like, especially if you believe this stuff, or if you're Christian or Muslim or something like that, and you're probably gonna watch one of my cringe compilations related to those, you probably think like, oh, look at him, he thinks he knows everything because he's just sitting there and laughing and things like. No, I'm laughing at the bad arguments. These are arguments that aren't meant to be taken seriously. Or at least if they were, he put them in their place very fast. It's easy to find something that's based on evidence and things that's not based on evidence. If you have an argument and there are things that absolutely contradict it, like straight from the opening gate, then why should I take your argument seriously? I will get more into that when I get into some more religious videos, because there have been people bringing me some arguments about stuff that I don't want to say the argument is stupid, but what they said doesn't. It goes against what they said. Like, there's evidence that completely goes against what they said. And the problem is people tend to just ignore it as if it doesn't exist. Like, oh, well, that didn't happen. Like, well, actually it did. It's right there in the book. But, you know, it tends to be how it goes sometimes. How much time do I have left? I told you I can't record longer than 30 minutes, so I don't want to like overkill this video. All right, I'm at 24 minutes right now. So, yeah, I will be checking out more videos from James Randi. He also has videos that relate to people doing magic and things like that. And that actually ties into what I was talking about in the beginning of this video. James Randi has a foundation where he performs a challenge. He's willing to offer $1 million to anyone that can prove any type of supernatural event, claim, whatever it is. Like, if you think you have some type of supernatural powers, or you think you can explain some type of supernatural phenomenon, if you can do it and prove it, he's willing to give you $1 million up front. To let you guys know, he's had this going on since the 70s, and to this day, nobody has claimed that $1 million. So just a heads up, you have to know what the hell you're doing, because a lot of people took the challenge and nobody has passed it. As a matter of fact, he has a show, and I believe that prize started off as a prize for that show where people would do like magic tricks or, you know, pretty much things like that to try to prove that they can show supernatural phenomena. And at the end of the day, it turned out that they were using some type of illusion or trick or, you know, something to try to get over on people. But like I said, James Randi, he's a really good magician, so he knows exactly what a lot of the things people tend to use to distract people while they do something else on the side, and, you know, to try to get the magic part of it over on people. So you gotta, you know, bring your A game if you plan on bringing something to James Randi. Anyway, that's this video. I'm gonna go ahead and move on to something else. I look forward to seeing you guys on my future videos, and until then, I am the original Renaissance man, Devon DaVinci, for now, signing out, and give you the deuces. Peace.